Hey everyone, thank you for joining me tonight as we're going to talk about three most common categories of ADHD and sensory kiddos that we see in the office. Now, this is going to be a topic that we're not going to get all that in depth on, but we're going to dig into what those three categories are and provide you parents with more information on really what is going on. Because we're here because, we're watching this because we have a kid that is, struggling. They're challenging. They have everyday struggles, maybe in the classroom, maybe at home, maybe in both, whatever that is. And maybe you feel like you're the only parent going through this seemingly never-ending struggle to raise your child with empathy and love. Maybe it's the sixth time you said the same thing in one day, and it gets a bit tiring and trying. And you may feel guilty about those circumstances that you perceive as your fault as a parent. Because we tend to, as parents, we like to blame ourselves. Like the fact that you lost the patience with your child that day, or you didn't focus when your child was telling you something about school. Whatever that is, we understand. And it's hard and it's challenging. And I want you to know, parents, we're here for you. I'm here for you. We understand. And that's why I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about, so that you as a parent can get a better understanding of what's going on with our kids. And what can we do to flip this thinking of we just need to fix our kids. We're not here to fix our kids or fix your kid. We're going to look at it from a totally different perspective than maybe you've been used to. So my name's Dr. Eric Kurzinski. I'm a pediatric and family wellness chiropractor. I've been doing this work for 5 years. I love every second of it, especially working with these kiddos that are struggling with ADHD and sensory issues, because I was one of those categories that I'm going to talk about tonight. So this is really dear to my heart because I saw the impact that it had on me and the impact that it had on my family. And I want to let you parents know that there's other things that you as a parent can do for them. You don't have to go down that medication route or always looking at the diets. They may work, but what's the deeper layer? What I like to talk about in the office is, are we only addressing the tip of the iceberg? Or are we actually addressing everything underneath the surface of the water? Because Titanic was taken down by everything below. It wasn't taken down by the tip of the iceberg. So that's where we're going to get down, not in this webinar. And I'll talk about, how we can find out more information and dig in deeper. But that's what we do in this office. So let's get into the first category of these ADHD and sensory kiddos. And that is our raging bull, okay? These are the kids, and you'll know these kids. These are the kids that are constantly moving. They're craving the high carb sugar. They love the sugary foods. They're the picky eaters. They're the ones that love the crunchy, salty, sugary snacks, right? They crave the fast-paced atmospheres. They love video games. They have those attention issues. And then sleep. Let's talk about the sleep, right? This is where they just can't shut off the brain. There's no off switch to their brain. It's just go, 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 go all the time. And they struggled, and you struggle as a parent to put your kid to sleep. And then these kiddos are the high stress meltdowns where they're just so overwhelmed and they just get into these angry meltdowns on a frequent basis. And then transitions. Transitions are a horrible thing for these kiddos. What may seem like such a small transition sets them into this complete, utter meltdown and overwhelm for them because their cup's already full. So that you throw something newer or that they're not used to on a frequent basis, it overwhelms them onto it. And they have very little awareness to danger. So these are the kiddos that you see running out into the driveway or into the road, or they like jumping off of things because they love that risk. They love that danger. But then they also struggle with lack of focus because everything in their brain is spinning too fast on the inside and they're not able to catch on to the concepts and what's happening in their environment. So this is then also impacting on their grades at school. Maybe this is also impacting on their speech development. So that starts to suffer. But then we also may struggle with maybe possible bedwetting challenges. And that's because too much is going in and it's not getting shunted to other areas like the bladder for bladder control. And then these are our proprioceptive seekers. They're always running, jumping, they're grinding on their teeth, maybe biting their nails, whatever it is, they love to seek that proprioceptive input because they're not getting it somewhere else onto it. So let's dig into our second category, and that is our drunken bulls. These are the kiddos that are like the opposite. They have troubles connecting those dots. No matter how many times you mention it to them, they just don't get it. They have the lack of coordination, balance. They're always tripping. They're clumsy kids. But they also feel like they're just disconnected from what's happening in their environment. They have that lack of focus, particularly in the classroom. But you're not having so much of the hyperactivity with these kiddos as you did with the raging bulls. But they constantly feel like they're in this state of overwhelm. And you might find that they just have low tone overall. And you may have been told by the pediatrician that they have low tone, low muscle tone. But then they also do struggle with some speech issues onto that level. And then we get into our third category, which is actually a combination of the first two. And that is our raging drunken bull. And like I said, so it's a combination of both. And these are actually our kiddos that are more complex that we care for because they have deeper stress onto the nervous system. And they can have characteristics of both of the categories, both that raging bull category and that drunken bull category. But they can flip-flop between the two. And these are the kiddos that typically will have the labels of ODD, ASD, even though we're not worried about the labels. I'm not here to label your kid. I'm not here to put another label on your kid that they have this or that. We're here, like I said from the beginning, we look at things in a different set of lenses. We look at things as a whole. We don't compartmentalize these challenges and these struggles, and that the behavior is a separate issue, the focus is a separate issue, the constipation or the digestive issues is a separate issue, or the bladder issues are a separate issue, or the immune system issues. We don't break it down by systems because that's not who we are. We're one. We're one person. We're one system that's controlled by the brain and the nervous system that lives in our spinal cord, that lives in our spine. That is how we function. That is how all of our organs, glands, tissues are able to work the way that they do. But when that nervous system is not functioning to its full potential, things start to get overwhelmed. And when things are overwhelmed for a longer period of time, now we start breaking through that surface of the water, and now that tip of the iceberg is starting to show, and now we have symptoms. Now we have struggles. Now you finally put that last straw on the camel that broke the camel's back. And to just look at the symptoms doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because we can get rid of symptoms with a medication or something, but if we're not addressing that underlying issue, it's just going to come up somewhere else, or something else is going to come up. So with these kiddos, these raging drunken bull kiddos, like I said, these are kiddos that are typically the ones that do get the labels of ODD and ASD, but even though we're not focusing on that, but typically these are the kiddos that you as a parent have tried everything possible. You've done OT, you've done PT, you've done speech therapy, you've done FT, you've done ABA therapy, you've done all of these therapies, and you have maybe seen some improvement with them, but your gut is telling you that there's more. There's more that can be done. They're still struggling. They're still going through difficult times. Yeah, their speech has improved, but there's so much more that can be done. Follow that gut. That's the biggest thing that I talk about with all of my parents, is follow that gut feeling, because that's what's always right. Your gut feeling, you know your kid the best. No doctor, no scientist can tell you anything different about your kid, because you're the one that knows them the best. Onto it. And that's why in our office, we don't guess on any kid that comes into our office. We want to know exactly what is going on with these kids. Yes, we do a very thorough history to dig into what are the challenges, what have they been through from the pregnancy, the birth, from birth all the way up until today, because that does matter, and it does give me a perspective of what's happening with them or what they've been through. But what matters now is how is their nervous system functioning? And where is that stress on that nervous system? And that's why we use state-of-the-art scans in our office, so that we can get an inside look of how their nervous system is functioning, how their nervous system is perceiving their environment, how their nervous system is able to process and regulate on a regular basis. We need to look at that so that we know then what it is that we need to do and how long it's going to take to start to restore that function of the nervous system. And when we start to restore this function of the nervous system, it just blows my mind still. Even though I see it every single day in our office. But to see the transformations of these kids, and not just the kids, but the parents. Because when you start living your life, expressing life to the fullest through your nervous system, the body can do amazing things. Just yesterday, the other day, we celebrated a mom for the first time in 7 years. And that's how old her daughter is 7. For the first time, being able to get a night sleep, a full night of sleep. Because for 7 years, she struggled. She struggled with sleeping because her daughter never slept. So it doesn't just impact the kids. It impacts the family. And that's why we're here to support you. And we understand that it's stressful, but we get it. I get it because I was in their boat before. So I've seen it from their end and from your end. So I get it. And what can you do about it? Right? So what are the action steps that we can do to start, everything that you've been doing is correct. You've been doing what you've been told. So this isn't a shame game. This isn't, you shouldn't have done that. You've done everything that you knew was possible as a parent. And what I want to do is just give you more information about what you can do to help even move them more in the right direction. So if this webinar connected with you at all and you want to dig in deeper, then we have an upcoming live workshop where we will dig in deeper and connect even more of the dots for you parents so that you can get a better understanding on a deeper layer of what is actually going on with our kids. Why are our kids struggling? And I'll post a link for that workshop in the comment section. But maybe you just watched this and you're like, that sounds like my kiddo. What do I have to do next? Yeah, I'll come to the live workshop, but I don't want to wait. I want to find out now. Then contact our office. Give us a call, direct message us, email us to schedule that initial appointment so that we can schedule those initial scans so that we can start getting you answers, so that we can start seeing the stress, the organization, the coordination of your kiddo's nervous system and how that can be contributing to their challenges. Because today is the day that we start moving our kids and start allowing them to express life more. Because as a parent myself, the one thing that we want for our kids is to live the best life possible that they can. And that's why we fit so well into that, because we live our lives through our nervous system. So if our nervous system is stressed, our life is going to be stressed. But if our nervous system can function optimally and express life to the fullest, there's endless amounts of possibilities for our kids going forward in the future. So I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. And before I end, I want to just remind you, mom and dad, that you aren't in this alone. We're here for you at any point. If it's now, if it's a month, if it's in a year, 5 years, we're here for you. So reach out to us whenever you want. And with that, everyone have a good night. Bye.